monster lurking in a Russian lake to new life forms discovered in Antarctica, here are 11 of the world's most mysterious lakes.
Welcome to Deep Sea Sundays.
Number 11, Yellowstone Lake. While Yellowstone National Park might be best known for Old Faithful geyser, the lake inside the park is known for something else. Strange sounds that seem to originate from an unknown location. The noises have been described as everything from ducks in flight to a swarm of bees humming. The noise sometimes grows loud and intense until seeming to expand from above and then suddenly fades away. This phenomena of lake music has been documented by travelers since at least the late 19th century. Number 10. Tal Lake. This freshwater lake is located on the island of Luzon in the Philippines. It surrounds Volcano Island, which lies near the center of the lake. Volcano Island contains a crater lake known as Yellow Lake, and that contains its own small island called Volcano Point. It's an example of a third-order island, or a lake within a lake within a lake. Tal volcano is still active, although it's only had minor eruptions over the past decade or so. Number 9. Jolla Mahal. Appropriately enough, that name means water palace, and this palace appears to be floating smack in the middle of India's Mansagar Lake. The structure was built in the 1700s under normal conditions by a Maharaja as a vacation spot for the royal family, and it contains 5 stories, but 4 stories are submerged, and only the top floor can be seen. The town that surrounds the palace underwent a severe drought centuries ago, and a decision was made to dam a nearby river and flood the area, which happened to include the palace. Today it's abandoned, but has become a major tourist attraction. Number 8. Crater Lake. Located in Oregon, Crater Lake is known for its water clarity and deep blue color. Now, it's also known for the Old Man of the lake. That's the trunk of a hemlock tree that measures some 30 feet long and has been floating upright within Crater Lake for over a century. It floats about 4 feet above the water surface. Dated at some 450 years old, the tree trunk not only bobs up and down vertically, it's also known to travel around the lake, sometimes with surprising speed. It's thought the Old Man was initially dislodged by a landslide and was pulled into the lake where rocks and roots stabilized its base. But while such pieces of timber would normally float for a time and then eventually sink, the Old Man has stayed buoyant and shows no evidence of erosion or disintegration. Number 7. Bighorn Desert. This is the 3rd largest desert in China and spans some 19,000 square miles from China to Mongolia. More than 140 spring-fed lakes are scattered throughout this expanse. Some are freshwater while others are saline. The lakes are located between the sand dunes and are known to change color due to large populations of algae, brine shrimp, and mineral formations that occur at various times of the year. Runoff from the surrounding mountains is thought to seep into underground springs and supply sources of water for the scattered oases. Number 6. Lake Nyos. This crater lake is located in Cameroon on the flank of an inactive volcano, and this is not a lake you would want to swim in. There's a pocket of magma underneath the lake that leaks carbon dioxide, which turns the water into carbonic acid. It's one of only 3 such lakes known to be saturated with carbon dioxide in such a manner. Some 1,700 people were suffocated in nearby towns when the lake suddenly emitted a huge cloud of carbon dioxide in 1986. That event was the result of a landslide and was thought to be the first known mass asphyxiation caused by a naturally occurring circumstance. Because the lake's natural wall is eroding, it still poses a threat today. Number 5. Abraham Lake in Canada's Banff National Park is actually an artificial body of water. It was created in 1972 with the construction of the Bighorn Dam, but this lake, along with 2 others in the park, has become known for a naturally occurring phenomenon. Frozen bubbles of methane gas appear like icy circles trapped within the frozen lake. In the summer, the methane bubbles rise to the surface and pop. In the winter, the gas bubbles stay frozen within the ice as they travel to the surface. When permafrost thaws out, it causes organic matter at the bottom of the lake to do likewise. As microbes decompose the organic matter, methane gas is released. Since methane isn't soluble, it forms into bubbles instead. Number 4. Loch Ness. It's a deep freshwater lake or loch in the Scottish Highlands, and by surface area, it's the second largest loch in Scotland. It's also home to what is arguably the most famous cryptid in the world, the Loch Ness Monster. Sightings of Nessie date all the way back to 565 AD. In 2014, an expedition at Loch Ness had a large image deep below the surface register on the sonar. That followed the release of satellite images that seemed to depict a shadowy figure that measured around 30 feet long and had huge flippers. The image was spotted on Apple Maps. We couldn't find any official word on what either of those events may or may not have been. Number 3. Lake Baykal, located in southern Siberia. It's known as the world's deepest lake at more than 1,600 meters. And at some 25 million years old, it's also considered the world's oldest lake. It exhibits a rich biodiversity with over 1,000 species of plants and more than 2,500 animal species. Due to extreme conditions, ice hummocks, or naturally formed blocks of ice, have developed. Some of the ice blocks appear to have been carved by hand, and when they catch the sun at a certain angle, the ice seems to glow with a turquoise color. In 2009, Lake Baykal presented a mystery that still hasn't been solved. Two enormous ice circles, each measuring some 2.5 miles wide, appeared on the frozen lake. The geological phenomenon was even visible from space. Experts theorize that warm water may have spurted to the surface, and that caused the bizarre patterns, but there's no way to explain a heat source for the water. What could have caused those ice circles? Number 2. Lake Vostok. It is actually located underneath the Antarctic ice at the southern pole of cold, beneath Russia's Vostok station. The surface of the subglacial freshwater lake is more than 1,300 feet or 4,000 meters below the ice. It's thought that the lake's water may have been isolated for up to 25 million years. Pristine water samples obtained from the lake contained bacterial DNA that does not match any known species listed in current global databases. Experts consider the bacterial life form to be unclassified or unidentified. The lake was discovered in 1996 by Russian and British specialists and is one of the world's largest lakes. Because it's been sealed off for so long, it could offer a glimpse of Earth prior to the Ice Age. Number 1. Stories of a monster lurking in Russia's Lake Labinkir date back to the 19th century. The remote town is located in the Sakha Republic, the coldest and largest area of Russia. A team of divers undertook an expedition to not only conduct research on the lake, but also to see if legends about the monster might be true. Speculation about the creature includes it being anything from a giant pike to a prehistoric ichthyosaur. At first, the team encountered dogfish, which measured over a meter long. But on the 5th day of the expedition, their echo-sounding device detected a huge object underneath the boat. The scientists were unable to identify what the object was and have no explanation for it. They do know the object was dense and it was located above the bottom of the lake, and it was not a school of fish. When the readings were repeated, that suggested the presence of more than one large object inhabiting the lake. Is it proof that the legendary lake monsters really do exist?